got a really good mood in the rooms afterwards and bit of singing in on the broadcast. Yeah, must be happy with it.
Yeah, it was a bit silly. But as I said, like Andrew Kidman, who wrote that song and performed it, yeah, that was great for us, for him to be able to have that initiative. And I was just saying, like, he's an artist. There's not much money in some of the arts these days, and you can actually buy the souped up version, which starts with Improvise and Overcome, for 99 cents on Bandcamp. So I think our supporters should download that one and see if they if it resonates with them, because it just keeps playing over and over in my head. So that was silly. It's only round 0. But, you let your guard down, you have a bit of fun, and the mood's great. I mean, when you play last year's premiers and you set yourself a task and you've got a belief that you're a big chance to see the day. And as I've just said, just in Fox then, that it seemed like history was repeating itself. We've had these games throughout the course of last year where we've been in the game, and then just for a patch of a quarter and sometimes the third, we've just been tested, whether it's a contest or in the skill and game sense side of the game, and that happened in the third quarter. We couldn't get it into our front half. We had 4 inside 50s with just a few minutes to go, and then we were able to get it in our front half and kick a couple of late goals. So it just showed us going into the three-quarter time break that if we get some supply again, we can test them, we can challenge them, and that happened. And I just thought our players are really composed. There's some of the ball use from Richo and Lockie Bramble and one or two others in that last quarter was just so important in the cut and thrust of the game.
What do you sense that sort of when you kicked the last two goals in the third quarter? Could you sense that sort of at the at three-quarter time that it was on?
Well, this competition, can really bite you at times. And when you're playing last year's premiers, it's encouraging, but you never for a second think that, we're coming over the top of them, because you know what they're capable of. All I knew was that there was some persistence throughout our ranks. It was enough to make sure the margin was narrowed as we went into that break. And in the end, it was really crucial that we did, because, we hit the front reasonably early in that last quarter. And then, as they do, because they're such a good side, they give themselves another chance. We gave up a couple of stoppage goals that we'd like back, but so you never rest. You never against anyone, but particularly not against the Lions.
You said you thought history might be repeating itself. Have you done anything over the off season to address games when you're in those sort of moments to change momentum?
Well, we've worked on defensive elements. I got asked about it just before. The game now with the rules, the changes to the stand, the fact that you have to stand on the boundary line when the ball gets kicked or handballed out of bounds, it just makes it so difficult to defend. And we've got 50-metre penalties paid against us tonight. And so when you're trying to keep a side like Brisbane to a reasonable score, you got your work cut out. But I thought our aerial stuff from Rory Lobb in particular, I thought some of their small to mediums took contested marks when they shouldn't have. Other than that, we were reasonably good at the drop of those situations, and other than their speed in Charlie Cameron and Zach Bailey and the like being electric and hard to contain at times, we held up reasonably well. When you consider, Lockie Jakes, Michael Selwood and Connor Budrick, the three of them played in that back line for the first time all together with the other boys. And Buku still hasn't played a lot of footy. So I thought that those lads held it together. Time will tell, Pete, whether or not over the journey our defensive side is a bit different. But there were some encouraging signs last week against the Hawks, and there was nothing I saw other than probably those aerials that we just need to be a bit better at. And when you've got a talented and strong side like the Lions, they're always going to test you in the contest. And they got the upper hand with that at different times. So I love the fact that we're able to rest that a little bit in in that last quarter.
Is there a need for more clarification on the stand rule, or is it just a vetting in process?
No, I mean, I don't think so. I think everyone understands it. It's probably the most difficult one for the umpires to get right. I didn't think anything that happened tonight wasn't understandable, as whether it's a 50-metre penalty or not. I mean, the simple thing is they want someone to stand. So it's harder to be outside 5. What we have noticed, though, now you get called to stand when you're not actually where the mark or free kick was given or taken. So that's something that I think will probably need a bit of clarification. Like, you get called to stand 5 metres away from where they marked it. So now they've got even that little bit more space. That makes a huge difference in this game. It really, really does. That's everyone. I mean, it's not just us. So, I think if they call you to stand, I still think you should be able to come up to where the mark was taken. But no, I don't think they're giving anyone that opportunity. So we need some clarification on that. Maybe we'll ask during the week.
How hard is it when you've coached a player like Bond for so long, with such a great midfielder, to have him deep forward when the game's on the line?
Yeah, there's a couple of things attached to that, Pete. It's one, having faith that he'll be influential down there, but putting faith in the one or two that now share the midfield responsibilities. And so they did a good job through that middle of the ground. I thought Ed in particular started to rise late, and Marcus was fighting the good fight. The unfortunate thing for him was during the times that Sam or Aaron needed a rest, he's got Harris Andrews standing. Now, Harris is, I think, the best key defender in the competition. And ideally, he's not wearing that matchup, because it means the aerial side's just going to be really, really challenging. So late in the game, he went back into the middle for the last sort of 5 or 6 minutes, and then we put him behind the ball just to stabilise us with one or two others. And that I thought the players handled the end of game scenario pretty well, and that's a good progression for us.
Tim English conceded a goal at a stoppage to Ford, but you must have been thrilled with how he responded like a few minutes later with the big gut-busting run and the mark and goal.
Yeah, well, I think, with the ruckman and they're balling the ball up really quickly, the turnover game and the fact that you got 5 that you can circulate, but still only 75 interchange, for him to find the energy to push forward like that was obviously really crucial for us. I thought he had a real impact, him, at different stages of the game. And he's still working through what it means for him, game time-wise, with trying to keep the energy up in the turnover game in all of our positions. Thought our staff, on the bench handled it pretty well, because we did need to chop and change. Artie came out of the game. Crofty came out of the game late. We needed to alter a few things, and I think with the new alterations to that side of it, I'm glad we'd rehearsed it the previous 2 weeks.
The game really opened up in the last quarter. Do you think teams that are able to manage that 5 on the bench situation and the rotations like that's going to be crucial?
Oh, it always matters, it really does. And it's more difficult now because you've got the extra. You've got to work out who might play a bit of extra game time or who sits down for a little while. You're mindful of what variations you can actually go to. I mean, if we've been working on it behind the scenes, but if we thought about the derivatives, there's 1,000. Like, it's just the scenario-based side of the game where you put players in the groups. It's now a huge tactical and strategic challenge. It always has been, but I think it's more so than it used to be with the 5. Quite simply, you can just sit that player down if you want to. And our teams will do that at different times. So everyone's working their way through it and feeling their way through it. And I don't think you're always going to get a good result. But I think everyone managed it pretty well tonight.
What did you make of the Jones, Harris Andrews incident?
I actually haven't seen it back. I didn't actually pick it up too much in real time, so I can't really comment on it.
clearly he's concussed, I imagine. Is there anything worse?
I don't know if we've. I haven't actually asked. We took him out of the game. I don't know if he's at it. I'm pretty sure our guys would have scattered him. I haven't asked what that means, but I'd imagine that he'd probably miss a week, and hopefully he's okay. He's got a bit of a shiner, but he's a tough kid. He's hard-boned, First Nations, strong will. He's pointy. So it must have been a hard hit for him to be hurt. So hopefully he's going to be fine, but I'd imagine we might miss him for a week.
There was a lot of talk last year about not beating the top 18. We might have beaten the Giants. What does it mean to the club and the team to beat the Lions tonight from that perspective?
We try and, as much as we're really honest with what happened last year and some of the things that we know we needed to be better at, we've really worked hard on, and mainly around the contest and defensive disciplines. But it's important that I don't stay in the past and we all live in the now and push ahead. So I think in relevant terms, based on what they achieved last year, it is important for us. But we've got a level of confidence that we weren't too far away from those better teams last year. So that's a good position to be in on the dawn of the season. And then in the transaction tonight was evidence that we maybe just we're bridging the gap a bit. Thanks, everyone.